How is hearing a valid form of yoga? By Krishna's mercy. Vipannan vishpanena nigrahya bhujgadhipam uthapya payad gavastatoyam prakritishthitam. Quote, the inhabitants of Vrindavana were perplexed by great difficulties because a certain portion of the Yamuna was poisoned by the chief of the reptiles, Kaliya. The Lord chastised the snake king within the water and drove him away, and after coming out of the river, he caused the cows to drink the water and proved that the water was again in its natural state. Shrimad Bhagavatam 3.231.
Can you answer this question for me? It relates to a specific implementation of Bhakti Yoga as defined by the esteemed Prahlad Maharaj. It is actually the first in the list of items. I think that son of the Daitya king offered the greatest service to mankind in providing the list. He created substance out of something that is otherwise complex. Bhakti Yoga might appear to be something that exists only in the abstract, to be discussed by academics, or to be used by leaders to criticize others for their behaviors, leading to misery, exhaustion, defeat, and being bound to the cycle of birth and death. Prahlad showed how Bhakti Yoga looks when implemented in real life. The problem I have is that I think any of the other 8 items within the list make more sense than the first one. This is because there is something being done. Take Kirtanam, for example. I am sitting down and chanting. I might be chanting with others in what is known as Sankirtana, repeating the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Another process is Smaranam, remembering the Supreme Lord, who is known as Vishnu. This is kind of difficult, considering that we have so much already on the mind. It requires effort. Being a friend, offering service, worshipping in the formal sense, surrendering everything. These involve doing things. The first item in the list, which is perplexing, at least to me, is hearing. The Sanskrit is Shravar. I also know that any of the 9 processes done steadily, with determination, and with an eye towards perfection, will yield the same result as any of the other processes. How does that make sense, though? If I sit down and hear, that is quintessential passivity. I am not doing anything. I put it right on the border of sleeping. Why would hearing help me? How does it move me further along in the path? Shouldn't I at least have to do something after the fact?
His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada translates Bhakti Yoga as Krishna consciousness. This is to simplify things as well as to clear up the misunderstanding of many gods tagged to the Vedic tradition. There is always only one God. There is always only one source. That individual may appear differently across different ages, reveal to select people, and thus have different associated names, but it is always one person at the origin. Since he is a person with the greatest qualities, he is Bhagwan. Since he is all attractive, he is Krishna. Consciousness is the objective in Bhakti Yoga. Consciousness is what carries forward to the next lifetime. The body is like the machine. When we return the rental car at the airport, once the agent takes the keys or we park the vehicle in the proper space, our affiliation ends. This is more or less the case, provided there are no incidental damages or lingering issues. We were once in that vehicle, which is like a machine. We were together across hundreds of miles in journeys that span many days. Then, just like that, the car has no meaning to us. There is separation. Shariram yad avapnoti, yach chapya utkramti ishwaraha, grihit vaitani sanyati, vayur gandhan ivashayat. Quote, The living entity in the material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another as the air carries aromas. Lord Krishna, Bhagavad-gita 15:8. We are with the machine that is the body. We will one day leave that machine behind. The consciousness carries forward. The comparison is to air transporting sense. We are at a distance from the kitchen. We are indoors, but somehow we can smell the flowers from the garden in the courtyard. We can identify what is baking in the oven. This is due to transport. The same applies to our future existence. We can shape that existence through influencing consciousness. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatya antikalevaram tam tam evaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. Quote, whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, that state he will attain without fail. Lord Krishna, Bhagavad-gita 8-6. To get an understanding of the potency of hearing, imagine the situation of an adult learning how to swim. They had trauma during childhood. They suffered through the embarrassment of being the only child at parties to not know how to swim. The parents wondered why the child was so afraid. As an adult, this person has to explain to their young children why they are not so fond of entering the water during the summer months. Finally, after growing tired of offering excuses, they decide to give it a try. They want to tackle their fear. The first day with the instructor goes well. There is some progress made. On the second day, there is a different instructor. This person wants to take the tough approach. Our adult student is a little apprehensive, but they continue anyway. During one of the drills, the instructor intentionally lets go, causing the student to fall into the water. The adult student panics, calls out for help, and then rushes to the side wall. They were not ready for that step. They were not sure what to do when left totally alone in the water, with no surface to hold as an anchor. That is enough trauma for one day, they think. At the same time, they feel completely humbled by the experience. In the same pool, there are 3- and 4-year-old children, sometimes in the next lane over, swimming effortlessly. Those children are so happy to be in the water. They have not a care in the world. Then, there are so many others who are brave enough to dive into the water to rescue people. Known as lifeguards, they sacrifice their own comfort to bring safety to others. After the harrowing experience, this adult student cannot help but recall the pastime of Krishna jumping into the Yamuna River. A young child at the time, Krishna knew what he was doing. There was danger around. The fumes of poison spread to the nearby vicinity. Krishna took the risk to save his friends, his neighbors, and his community. The cause of the disturbance was the snake known as Kaliya. The poison was dangerous enough, but what human being was going to face the serpent directly? The person in our story fondly recalls Krishna dancing on the hoods of Kaliya. Krishna finally spared the serpent after kind pleas for clemency from the Nagapatnis. These were the wives of Kaliya. Krishna was also kind enough to leave a sacred footprint. The eagle known as Gurd would see this mark on the hood of Kaliya and know that everything was safe. The person in our story can only recall this incident because they initially heard. As they are triggered by the scent of chlorine reminding them of the dangers in their swimming experience, Krishna was not afraid of the poison from Kaliya. The person in our story at some time engaged in Shravan. They retained that connection to transcendence despite a harrowing experience. Through an episode from living life outside of a formal worship scene, they got a vivid picture of the meaning to the delivery of the surrendered souls as described in Bhagavad-gita. Ye tu sarvani karmani, mayi sanyasya mat parah, ananyenaiva yogena, Ma dhyayant upasate, tesham aham samudharta, mrityu sansar sagarat, bhavamina chirat parth, maya aveshit chetasam. Quote, for one who worships me, giving up all his activities unto me and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service and always meditating upon me, who has fixed his mind upon me, O son of Pritha, for him, I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. Lord Krishna, Bhagavad-gita 12:6-7. Whether in good times or bad, anyone can remember Krishna. They can realize that he is the strength of the strong, that he is the one responsible for the results of action. Through hearing alone, they can change their consciousness for the better. This means that Shravan indeed fulfills the purposes of yoga. In closing, how from simply to hear, success in yoga to steer, not passive resembling sleep, at least some attention keep, reminder of Krishna fearlessly diving after Kaliya to Yamuna arriving. His kindness and mercy to devotees shown, recalled after harrowing bout of my own.